Stop scrolling. You could be holding one of these 4 secret Lincoln Memorial Cents without even realizing it. Some look worn, some show unusual colors and surface marks, and others contain details that collectors carefully search for. But the real question is, could one of these ordinary-looking pennies be hiding an extraordinary story and a surprising value? Today, we're uncovering 4 fascinating Lincoln Cents, examining their dates, mint marks, condition, design details, and the clues that could separate an ordinary coin from a truly interesting collectible. Watch until the end, because the 4th coin has a claimed value of more than $30,000. First up, the 1961 Lincoln Memorial Cent is a fascinating example of how condition, originality, damage, and collector interest can completely change the story of an otherwise familiar 1-cent coin. At first glance, a 1961 Lincoln Cent without a mint mark may look like an ordinary piece of American pocket change, but closer examination can reveal characteristics that make a particular specimen much more interesting to collectors. This coin belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The change from the earlier wheat reverse to the memorial reverse created a new chapter in American small-denomination coinage, and the 1961 issue is part of that important early memorial period. The coin described here is a large-date 1961 Lincoln Memorial Cent without a mint mark, indicating Philadelphia production. Its circulated condition, combined with heavy post-mint scratch and dent damage on the reverse and verdigris corrosion on the obverse, gives it a very distinctive appearance. It is important to understand that damage normally reduces collectible value rather than increasing it, so a claimed value of $13,000 plus should be treated as a hypothetical or seller-provided estimate unless supported by professional authentication and documented auction records. The coin itself was struck in bronze, using the traditional copper-rich composition of the era. Its standard specifications include a diameter of approximately 19 millimeters, a weight of about 3.11 grams, and a plain edge. On the obverse is Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with Liberty and the date positioned around the portrait. Because this is a no mint mark example, there is no mint letter beneath the date. The reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial, with United States of America above, 1 cent below, and E pluribus unum across the upper portion. For collectors, the reverse is especially important because the memorial design contains many architectural details that can help determine strike quality and preservation. In this particular specimen, however, the reverse has heavy post-mint scratches and dents. Those marks are significant because they are evidence of events that occurred after the coin left the mint. A scratch caused by circulation, contact with another object, improper cleaning, or accidental impact is generally considered damage rather than a mint error. Likewise, dents can interfere with the original design and may prevent a coin from receiving a high certified grade. This distinction is crucial when searching through old coins. A genuine mint error occurs during production, while post-mint damage happens later. On the obverse, the presence of green verdigris corrosion adds another layer to the coin's story. Verdigris is commonly associated with copper and bronze surfaces exposed to moisture, chemicals, salts, or other environmental conditions. The green material can form when copper reacts with its surroundings over time. Although the appearance may make the coin look older or more unusual, collectors generally do not consider verdigris desirable. In some cases, active corrosion can continue damaging the surface, making professional conservation or stabilization worth considering. However, aggressive cleaning should be avoided because removing corrosion improperly can permanently alter the original surface. The term very fine also deserves clarification. A circulated coin in very fine condition normally retains substantial design detail while showing noticeable wear on the highest points. But if a coin has substantial scratches, dents, or environmental corrosion, those problems can affect how professional grading services evaluate the overall piece. That is why photographs alone are not enough to establish a $13,000 plus market value. To determine whether an unusual 1,961 cent has significant collector value, the first step is authentication. The next step is examination under magnification. Collectors should inspect the date, lettering, Lincoln's portrait, memorial details, edge, and surface for signs of alteration. They should also look for unusual die characteristics or genuine mint-made varieties rather than assuming every unusual mark represents an error. The 1961 date itself is historically interesting because it belongs to the early years of the MemorialCent series, when millions of examples entered circulation and became everyday American currency. Most surviving examples are common, which means rarity must come from a specific variety, exceptional preservation, provenance, or another documented characteristic. The absence of a mint mark by itself does not make the coin extraordinarily rare because Philadelphia cents from this period were intentionally struck without a mint mark. This is one of the most important lessons for new collectors. A missing mint mark is not automatically an error. If the coin is genuinely being presented at a $13,000 plus valuation, documentation becomes essential. A professional grading service, high-quality photographs, previous auction history, or an established specialist attribution could make the difference between an interesting circulated cent and a legitimately valuable numismatic piece. Collectors should also compare the coin with authenticated examples and consult reliable price guides rather than relying solely on online asking prices. Even when a coin has damage, its historical appeal can remain strong. Every circulated LincolnCent has passed through countless transactions and everyday experiences, and the surface marks can tell part of that story. But collectors should separate historical character from monetary rarity. A scratched and corroded coin may be fascinating without automatically being expensive. Ultimately, this 1961 large-date LincolnMemorialCent is best viewed as a coin requiring careful examination. Its early memorial-era date, Philadelphia origin, circulated appearance, reverse damage, and verdigris-covered obverse make it visually distinctive. The reported $13,000 plus figure is an extraordinary valuation that requires strong evidence before it should be accepted as a genuine auction market price. For anyone searching through old change, the lesson is simple. Never judge a coin only by its age or unusual appearance. Check the date, mint mark, variety, strike, surfaces, and provenance, and when the claimed value is substantial, professional authentication is the smartest next step. Next up, the 1968 LincolnMemorialCent represents another intriguing chapter in the early MemorialCent series, and this particular example becomes especially interesting because of its circulated condition, relatively sharp design relief, and a visible spot of green verdigris corrosion near Lincoln's chin. The 1968 date places the coin within a period of major changes in United States coin production. LincolnMemorialCents had been circulating for nearly a decade, and collectors were increasingly familiar with the new reverse design introduced in 1959. This example carries no mint mark, which generally indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The absence of a mint mark should not automatically be interpreted as an error. For Philadelphia cents of this era, no mint mark was normal. The coin described here is characterized as circulated, with light to moderate wear and sharp design relief. Those features can make a coin visually attractive because much of the original design remains clearly visible despite its time in circulation. The reported condition is extra fine, suggesting that the major design elements retain considerable detail while the highest points show moderate friction. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's portrait remains the central feature. His hair, cheek, jawline, coat, and facial contours are among the areas collectors examine when determining the amount of circulation wear. Liberty appears behind Lincoln, while the date is positioned in front of the portrait. On a Philadelphia example, the area beneath the date does not contain a mint letter. The reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial in the center, surrounded by United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 cent. Sharp memorial details can be particularly appealing because they indicate that the coin retained a strong strike and did not experience excessive flattening during circulation. However, one small detail on this specimen deserves careful attention: the green verdigris spot on Lincoln's chin. Verdigris is associated with chemical reactions involving copper, moisture, oxygen, and environmental contaminants. Because Lincoln's cents from this period contain copper-rich metal, they can develop green, brown, reed, dead, or dark surface changes depending on storage conditions. A small green spot can be interesting visually, but it does not automatically make the coin rare or valuable. In fact, active corrosion can be a negative factor for professional grading. Collectors should resist the temptation to scrape, polish, or chemically remove the green material. Abrasive cleaning can create permanent hairlines and unnatural surfaces, potentially reducing the coin's appeal. Instead, the coin should be stored in an inert holder and, if the corrosion appears active, evaluated by someone experienced in copper coin preservation. The 1968 LincolnCent also deserves attention because this was a period when United States mint production involved several facilities and changing mint mark practices. This is precisely why collectors should learn the normal mint mark patterns for each date before deciding that a missing letter is an error. A 1968 Philadelphia cent without a mint mark can be completely normal, while a 1968 D example would carry the D mint mark associated with Denver. There are also famous and collectible varieties from the broader LincolnCent series, but identifying a true variety requires comparison with known references rather than simply noticing a strange shape or discoloration. The claimed $15,000 plus value in today's auction market is extremely high for a circulated 1968 LincolnCent and should therefore be treated as an unverified estimate unless backed by an authenticated variety, extraordinary provenance, or documented comparable sales. An ordinary circulated example should not be assumed to be worth thousands of dollars merely because it is old or has verdigris. This is an important point for viewers who search through jars of pennies, hoping to discover hidden treasures. Age alone does not determine value. Rarity, condition, variety, demand, and authenticity all matter. If this particular coin were submitted for professional evaluation, specialists would examine the surfaces, strike, color, signs of cleaning, corrosion, and any possible die characteristics. They would also determine whether the stated extra fine condition is appropriate. The difference between a genuine mint-made feature and post-mint environmental damage can have an enormous impact on value. For example, a raised line created by the die can be a legitimate variety characteristic, while a scratch created by a sharp object after minting is simply damage. The same principle applies to spots and discoloration. A natural copper color transition can be attractive, while active verdigris may be considered a surface problem. Despite these complications, the 1968 LincolnMemorialCent remains historically important as part of the first generation of memorial cents. The series continued for decades and became one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage. Millions of people encountered these coins in daily commerce, making them an excellent entry point for new collectors. When examining a 1968 cent, viewers should start with the date and mint mark, then inspect Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, the memorial reverse, the edge, and the overall surface. Look for unusual doubled lettering or numbers, die cracks, repunched features, or other recognized varieties, but verify each suspected error before assigning a premium. The coin should also be weighed accurately if authenticity is in question, because incorrect weight can sometimes indicate alteration or another issue. Ultimately, this 1968 no-mint mark LincolnMemorialCent is an appealing study coin because it combines a historically significant date with good remaining relief and a noticeable environmental feature. The reported $15,000 plus valuation is a figure that requires substantial verification and should not be presented as a guaranteed market price. The real treasure for collectors is learning how to distinguish ordinary circulation wear from genuine rarity. Sometimes the most valuable discovery is not simply finding an old penny, but learning exactly what makes one coin different from millions of others. Next up, the 1966 LincolnMemorialCent is another fascinating example from the early years of the memorial cent era, and the large date variety described here deserves a careful examination of its surfaces, design, color, and possible varieties. Struck without a mint mark, this coin is associated with Philadelphia production, and its circulated appearance shows that it spent time in everyday use. The specimen is described as having light to moderate design wear, uneven dark carbon spotting, and environmental toning. While the stated condition is extremely fine, these characteristics create a coin with plenty of visual personality, but they also demonstrate why condition grading must be separated from simple appearance. A dark surface does not automatically mean a coin is rare, and environmental toning does not by itself create a major premium. To understand this coin, it helps to begin with its place in American numismatic history. The Lincoln Memorial reverse had debuted in 1959, replacing the wheat reverse that had been used for decades. The memorial design honored the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and became one of the longest-running reverse designs in United States coinage. By 1966, the design was already familiar to the public, and Lincoln cents were among the most heavily used denominations in American commerce. The coin's composition is the traditional bronze composition used for Lincoln cents of the period, and its standard specifications are approximately 19 millimeters in diameter and 3.11 grams in weight. On the obverse, Lincoln faces right, with Liberty behind his head and the date positioned in front of him. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial with United States of America above and 1 cent below. A pluribus unum appears over the memorial. When examining a large date example, collectors should use accurate comparison images because date styles can sometimes appear different due to lighting, wear, photography, or surface damage. The term large date should refer to a recognized distinction rather than simply a date that looks large to the naked eye. This is particularly important because coin collecting is filled with online claims about supposed rare varieties that have not been professionally confirmed. The surface characteristics described here are also significant. Light to moderate wear is consistent with circulation and may allow the coin to retain substantial design detail. Extremely fine examples generally show moderate wear on the highest points while maintaining strong definition in the surrounding areas. On Lincoln's portrait, collectors would inspect the hair, cheek, jaw, and coat. On the reverse, they would examine the columns, steps, lettering, and overall architectural detail of the memorial. Uneven dark carbon spotting and environmental toning, however, can complicate the appearance. Carbon spots may develop when copper surfaces react with environmental contaminants, moisture, or improper storage conditions. Toning can range from attractive natural coloration to dark and uneven discoloration. Collectors often distinguish between stable natural toning and active environmental damage. The difference can be difficult to determine from photographs alone. Cleaning the coin to remove dark areas is generally not recommended because harsh chemicals or polishing can leave unnatural surfaces and microscopic scratches. The coin's reported $18,000 plus valuation should therefore be approached carefully. For an ordinary circulated 1966 Lincoln cent, such a figure would be extraordinarily high. A value in that range would require something far beyond the ordinary date and no mint mark status, such as a highly significant recognized variety, exceptional provenance, or another extraordinary characteristic confirmed by specialists. If a seller or video describes the coin as worth $18,000 plus, viewers should ask what specific evidence supports that number. Was the coin professionally graded? Is the variety listed in a recognized reference? Has a comparable example actually sold at auction for a similar amount? These questions protect collectors from confusing asking prices with realized auction prices. An auction estimate is not the same as a guaranteed selling price. For someone discovering a 1966 cent in an old collection, the best approach is methodical examination. First, verify the date. Next, confirm the absence of a mint mark. Then inspect the surfaces under good lighting. A magnifying glass or loupe can help reveal die characteristics, but magnification can also exaggerate ordinary damage, so every suspected feature should be compared with authenticated references. Check the edge for unusual alterations and weigh the coin if authenticity is uncertain. Pay particular attention to the lettering and date for signs of doubling, but remember that mechanical damage can imitate doubling. Environmental toning should also be recorded rather than immediately removed. The coin's history is part of its identity. A circulated cent with dark spotting may have spent decades in a drawer, collection, basement, or humid environment. Its surface tells a story about how it was stored and handled. Yet the key lesson is that an interesting appearance is not automatically a rare variety. The 1966 Lincoln Memorial Cent remains collectible because it belongs to the early Memorial series, but millions of cents from this period were produced. Therefore, a truly exceptional value must be supported by a specific numismatic reason. The large date designation, if legitimate and recognized, would need to be verified. If the coin passes authentication and is confirmed as a rare variety, then professional grading could provide a much stronger foundation for a high valuation. Until then, the $18,000 plus figure should be regarded as a claimed or hypothetical market estimate rather than a guaranteed price. For treasure hunters and coin collectors, this 1966 cent offers an excellent reminder. Examine first, identify second, authenticate third, and only then discuss value. Sometimes a seemingly ordinary penny becomes an extraordinary discovery because of one tiny, verifiable detail hidden in the date, lettering, or die characteristics. Next up, the 1965 Lincoln Memorial Cent is one of those fascinating American coins that can look completely ordinary at first glance, yet careful examination can reveal details that make collectors stop and take a second look. This particular example is a large date 1965 Lincoln Memorial Cent without a mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and it is described as circulated with lightware on the highest points, sharp memorial details, original copper-brown color, and minor spotting across the fields. The stated condition is extra fine, with a claimed value of $30,000 or more in today's auction market. However, that kind of valuation would be extraordinarily high for a normal 1965 Philadelphia Lincoln cent, so any $30,000 plus claim should be treated as a potential or advertised value unless the coin has a documented rare variety, professional authentication, exceptional provenance, or a verified comparable auction sale. The story of this coin begins in 1965, only a few years after the United States Mint introduced the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. The new reverse replaced the famous wheat design and featured the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., honoring Abraham Lincoln and commemorating the 150th anniversary of his birth. The memorial design quickly became one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. The 1965 cent belongs to the early years of this long-running series, making it historically interesting even when the individual coin is not rare. Like other Lincoln cents of this period, the coin was struck in bronze, giving it the familiar copper appearance associated with classic American pennies. It measures approximately 19 millimeters in diameter, weighs around 3.11 grams, and has a plain edge. On the obverse, Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln faces right. The words "In God We Trust" appear above his head, liberty is positioned behind the portrait, and the date appears in front of Lincoln. Since this example has no mint mark, there is no letter beneath the date. That detail is important because Philadelphia cents from this period normally carried no mint mark. Therefore, the missing mint mark is not automatically an error. Many beginning collectors see a blank space below the date and assume something unusual happened at the mint, but understanding normal mint mark practices is essential before calling a coin rare. The large date description also deserves careful attention. A coin should not be called a genuine large date variety simply because the numerals appear larger in a photograph. Lighting, wear, photography, die characteristics, and surface conditions can change the visual appearance of a date. A legitimate variety should be compared with recognized references and authenticated when necessary. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands prominently in the center. The words United States of America surround the architectural design, while 1 cent appears below and E pluribus unum is positioned above the memorial. The sharp memorial details described on this specimen are particularly interesting. Collectors can examine the columns, steps, roofline, and surrounding lettering to determine how strongly the coin was struck and how much detail survived circulation. Light wear on the high points suggests that the coin spent some time in commerce but did not experience extremely heavy circulation. This can be consistent with an extra fine appearance when the major design elements remain well defined. The original copper-brown color is another feature worth examining. Copper coins naturally change color as they age. A freshly struck bronze cent can have a brighter copper appearance, while exposure to air, moisture, handling, and storage conditions can gradually produce brown coloration. Natural brown color can be desirable when the surface remains original and stable. Minor field spotting, however, should be evaluated carefully. Small spots can develop from environmental exposure or chemical reactions and do not automatically represent mint errors. Collectors should avoid polishing or aggressively cleaning the coin because cleaning can leave permanent hairlines, alter the original surface, and reduce collector appeal. If the coin has suspicious discoloration or surface changes, professional examination is a safer approach. The most important question is whether this particular 1965 cent has something beyond its date, mint status, and appearance that could justify a $30,000 plus valuation. A normal circulated 1,965 Philadelphia cent would not ordinarily command anything close to that amount. A price at that level would require extraordinary evidence, such as a recognized and extremely rare variety, an important mint error, an unusually high certified grade, or documented historical provenance. This is why collectors should never confuse an asking price with an actual auction result. If a coin is advertised for $30,000, that does not mean someone has actually paid $30,000 for it. Realized auction prices, professional certification, and recognized variety attribution provide much stronger evidence of market value. Anyone discovering a 1965 LincolnCent should begin by checking the date and confirming whether a mint mark is present. Next, inspect the date style under magnification and compare it with reliable references. Examine Lincoln's portrait for doubling or unusual die characteristics, but remember that scratches and circulation damage can imitate genuine mint varieties. On the reverse, inspect the memorial columns, steps, lettering, and rim. The edge should also be examined for signs of alteration. If the coin appears unusually valuable, weighing it and having it professionally authenticated can provide additional confidence. The 1965 LincolnMemorialCent remains a wonderful collectible because it represents an important era in American coinage. Its early memorial design, copper composition, Philadelphia origin, and surviving detail make it an interesting piece for any LincolnCent collection. The reported $30,000 plus value makes this particular example sound like a spectacular treasure, but that figure must be verified rather than accepted automatically. The real lesson is that valuable coins are identified through evidence, not excitement. A small detail in the date, die, minting process, or provenance can sometimes transform an ordinary penny into a remarkable numismatic discovery. So, if you ever find a 1965 LincolnMemorialCent without a mint mark, do not spend it immediately. Examine the date, study the surfaces, compare the variety, protect the original copper color, and investigate the coin carefully. You might discover something unusual, but the key to proving that discovery is professional research and authentication. Thanks for watching. Keep checking your coins because the next rare treasure could be hiding right in your pocket. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more amazing coin discoveries.